Good yontif to all of you. And a warm good yontif to all of those who are joining us online, streaming tonight's service. We say welcome and glad you're with us. I also want to blow a kiss to our cantor who's at home watching services. Nate, we miss you. And just wish you a refuah shlema. We have people actually watching us from all around the world, including the UK, Australia, Mexico, Philadelphia, Florida, and more. I'm Janine Kolodny, and with a great sense of pride and honor, I'm beginning my second year serving as your president. We appreciate this opportunity to take a break in the service for our traditional annual campaign appeal. Joining us this evening is Robert Glassman. Robert is a trial attorney at Payne, Shear and Boyle, where he litigates personal injury, wrongful death, and product defect cases on behalf of individuals. He's been named a rising star by Super Lawyers magazine and selected as one of the up-and-coming 100 Southern California rising stars. Robert currently serves on the Stephen Wise Temple Board of Directors and is actively involved in the Young Adult Division as well as Tikkun Olam. Robert and his wife, Layla, have one daughter, Ella, and are very soon expecting their second daughter in the fall. We're honored that Robert has agreed to share his personal journey at Wise, and it now gives me great pleasure to welcome Robert to the Bema.
Thirteen years ago, I moved out to LA to go to law school, and I had nowhere to go for the Jewish high holidays. The temple I knew and trusted, the place I grew up at, where I went to Hebrew school and preschool, and where I became a bar mitzvah, was far away back in St. Louis, Missouri. I had no family here, and really no ties to this city that I just moved to. But fortunately, I was a Jewish guy going to law school in LA, so there was no shortage of people there just like me. And sure enough, within the first few days of being there, I met a guy by the name of David Palett, who happened to be a lifelong member of Stephen Wise. And David asked me if I'd like to join him and his family for Rosh Hashanah services. So I went to Skirball on the eve of Rosh Hashanah to be with David and his family. And I remember being happy that I was there, that I had people to be with on the holiday. But truth be told, I was still a little lonely, and I missed my family back home. But towards the end of the service, I noticed everyone get up around me, wrap their arms around one another, and gently sway back and forth and sing. And as I was swaying with David and his family, I remember thinking, now this is something I hadn't done before. This is something I hadn't seen before. This was something different. This was something special. And that was the first time ever, on my first night ever here, that Stephen Wise made me feel at home. It wasn't long before I became a full-fledged member. I started to get a little bit more involved. I volunteered at a pro bono event we did with Bet Tzedek, where we were helping Holocaust survivors put together basic wills and advanced care directives. And when I was doing that, Stephen Wise made me feel at home. I then met a girl, the love of my life, and she happened to be Persian. She also happened to be not Jewish. And after 5 years, just got a little hot up here. And after 5 years of dating, we decided to get married. And as we were getting ready for the wedding, we met with Rabbi Stern. And Rabbi Stern was accepting, said he was happy to marry us, and he invited us to meet with him on a regular basis so that he could get to know us a little bit better and so that we would have a smooth transition into living life as an interfaith married couple. So we started meeting with Rabbi Stern. We found the meetings to be productive and helpful. And even though Rabbi Stern took my wife's side on nearly every single issue we discussed, and even though she still brings that up to me 5 years later when we get into the same arguments and debates today, she pulls the rabbi card on me, Stephen Wise made me feel at home. When my wife Layla and I had our firstborn daughter, Ella, nearly 3 years ago, and Rabbi Stern came and performed the Hebrew baby naming, Stephen Wise made us feel at home. When we take Ella here on Saturdays for Tat Shabbat and baby yoga, Stephen Wise makes us feel at home. When my parents fly here from St. Louis for the high holidays, just to sit through our services and listen to our sermons, Stephen Wise makes us feel at home. When my wife and I hosted a Shabbat brunch at our house, and we invited other young couples with kids there, and Rabbi Yoshi and Rabbi Sari came, and we played games and sang songs, Stephen Wise makes me feel at home. But that was probably because we were at my house on that occasion. But either way. And finally, when I joined the Stephen Wise Board of Directors a couple years ago, and I get to collaborate and learn and interact with my fellow board members and the clergy and eat good food at the meetings, Stephen Wise makes me feel at home. Never did I think that when I walked into this place 13 years ago as a guest of my law school classmate, without knowing a single other person here, I would one day be back sharing my experiences with you. Stephen Wise has enriched my life. It has taught me to live with a sense of urgency. It has been a sacred and safe haven, an intellectual and spiritual retreat from the day-to-day, around-the-clock grind that we find ourselves in with work and our other professional obligations and commitments. It is now something that I don't just find time for in my life, but rather it is a part of my life. It is a part of who I am. And it is my hope that one day in the future, my family and I are sitting here at services, and at the end, when we rise and we wrap our arms around one another, we get the chance to embrace someone who we really don't know, perhaps even a stranger, and that one day, that person returns to Stephen Wise and feels at home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. Your words were beautiful and heartfelt. I'd like you to stay here and sway with me while I do the next portion. Okay. I want to say a big thank you to all of you who are members of our community and have already donated so generously to our annual campaign. We appreciate it. And now for everybody else who perhaps is not a member, we welcome you. We're thrilled to have you here with us tonight. And we want to give each and every one of you the opportunity and the mitzvah of fulfilling tzedakah during these high holy days. We hope you'll take this opportunity to support our campaign and above all, your valued gift of membership. Like many institutions, we could not do everything we do at WISE to make people like Robert feel so at home without your support. One of our core values is generosity, not just financial generosity, but generosity of heart. So tonight, in front of you, you will have a pledge card that's double-sided. Please take the time to have a look at it and express your generosity, either financially or through getting involved in our special community. We welcome you with open arms. We have volunteers and staff members who will be circulating and picking up your cards. We appreciate you filling them out. And I just want to say that I want to wish you all a happy, healthy, and peaceful new year. For me to partner with our superb clergy, educators, and senior staff is truly an honor. And I wish you all a Gemar Chatima Tova.